A sprawling Georgian mansion looms against the darkening sky. Red brick walls catch the last smear of sunlight, flanked by white columns that rise like solemn sentinels. The gates, wrought iron, thick as prison bars, are closed, their steel tips catching the gold of a fading day. The driveway curves through a line of oak trees, their branches heavy with moss, reaching like crooked fingers toward the house. A black SUV idles at the curb, but no one inside moves. It's as if the driver is waiting for permission to breathe. Int. Winters' house, study. Same time. Harold Winters, 78, sits hunched in a leather chair, his face an intricate map of deep lines and decades of unspoken words. His eyes, pale, sharp, are locked on a bank of monitors displaying grainy footage of every corner of his estate. He wears a crisp, charcoal cardigan, not a wrinkle out of place. A porcelain mug of untouched coffee sits at his elbow, steam long gone cold. The silence in the room is a living thing. He leans forward, a hand trembling slightly as he adjusts a dial, switching between camera feeds. The front gate, the empty library, the long hall lined with portraits of a family that no longer calls. The faint echo of a clock ticks behind him. Harold, V.O. A low rasp, not narration but a thought that bleeds through. Silence doesn't lie. It doesn't beg. It doesn't pretend to love you. Cut to, Inti Library. Flashback, twilight, years ago. The same house but alive. Sunlight pours through tall windows, hitting the golden hair of Miriam, late 60s, Harold's wife, who places sunflowers in a tall vase on the oak desk. She laughs, the warm, musical kind of laugh that fills a room and makes its walls breathe. Miriam, you always look at me like the world's on fire. Harold, younger, smiling. Maybe because it is, when you're not in the room. Her hand lingers on his cheek. He closes his eyes, memorizing her warmth. Int. Study, present day. Harold jolts awake from the memory. The monitors glow cold. The house feels hollow again, a tomb of polished wood and cameras. His trembling hand opens a drawer, revealing a leather-bound logbook. Every page is neat, every entry written in ink like a soldier's report. AO205, replaced locks. Security check, perimeter clean. AO210, firing Riley, theft confirmed. Dishwasher innocent. He pauses on a blank page and writes in sharp strokes. Jada Harris, arrives tomorrow. Test begins. Inti hallway, night. The hallway is long, shadows stretching from the sconces. At the far end is a heavy walnut door, the vault. Behind it lies $4 million in cash, rare heirlooms, deeds, and fragments of Harold's life he can't bring himself to trust anyone else with. Tonight, he opens the door wide. Stacks of $100 bills, bound and perfect, glisten under the light. His wife's antique brooches are laid out on a brass tray. Property titles, old passports, enough temptation to test a soul. Harold steps back, leaving the vault door ajar. The trap is set. Int. Harold's bedroom. Night. Harold sits on the edge of his bed, staring at the darkened ceiling. He does not sleep. He does not even undress. His breathing is shallow, eyes fixed on the hallway camera feed glowing on a small monitor near the nightstand. EXT. Winter's estate. Morning. The gate opens with a metallic groan. A small silver sedan drives in. Jada Harris, 27, steps out. She's not what Harold expected. Her black flats are scuffed, her coat frayed at the sleeves. No makeup, no jewelry. Her face is calm, yet alert. The kind of face that belongs to someone who's spent a lifetime listening more than talking. She carries a canvas tote, not a handbag. Practical, almost military in its simplicity. Inti. Foyer. Morning. The foyer of the house feels like a museum. Polished floors, high ceilings, walls adorned with oil portraits of stern ancestors. Harold stands waiting, leaning slightly on his cane. Harold, you're early. Jada, I like to be. Her tone is even, polite but not ingratiating. She takes off her coat and folds it neatly, setting it aside. Harold studies her. No nervous giggling, no small talk. She's all presence, no performance. Harold kitchen stocked, Supplies are under the sink. Start wherever you want. Jada. Yes, sir. As she moves toward the hallway, Harold turns away, his expression unreadable. Upstairs, the monitors are waiting. Int. Study. Later. Harold sits before the bank of screens, a hunter watching prey. One screen shows Jada dusting the foyer's baseboards with a soft bristled brush. She moves carefully, her motions precise. She doesn't glance at her phone. She doesn't even hum. Another screen shows the open vault door down the hall. Its contents shine under the dim light like bait. Harold sips his coffee, bitter, black, and waits. Int. Hallway. Midday. Jada moves down the hall, cleaning brass handles as she goes. Then she stops. The camera catches her head tilt, her steps slow. Her eyes lock on the vault door, slightly ajar. Harold leans forward in his chair. His fingers hover over the controls. She approaches, peering inside. Int. Vault room. Harold's monitor view. Continuous from the screen, Harold sees Jada standing at the threshold, her brow furrowed. A single step forward. Her hand lifts, not to touch the money, but to knock on the doorframe. Knock, knock. Silence. She pulls out her phone. Int. Study. Harold's POV, monitor. Harold watches as she dials, her lips moving. Jada, on phone. Miss Baker? Hi, it's Jada Harris. I think Mr. Winters forgot to close a room. There's cash inside, jewelry. Should I? Harold smiles faintly. He knows what his secretary will say. He'd given her instructions to tell Jada to leave it alone. Jada listens, nods, then hangs up. For a moment, she just stands there. Close on Harold. His heart rate picks up. This is it. Will she go in? Int. Hallway. Continuous. Jada turns, walks away. Then she returns with a chair. She sets it directly opposite the vault door, sits down, and folds her hands in her lap like a guard. Int. Study. Continuous. Harold freezes. His mouth parts slightly. He didn't plan for this. Montage. Time passes. Jada sits there motionless, occasionally glancing at the door. She pulls out a paperback novel and reads quietly. She eats a sandwich, never turning her back on the vault. A delivery truck arrives at the gate. She declines the package, her voice firm and polite. Hours pass. She doesn't move more than a few feet from the vault. Int. Study. Late afternoon. Harold is transfixed. His coffee is cold. His eyes burn. Then a sound. Jada's phone buzzes. Jada, on phone, quietly. No, Mama, don't cry. I'll figure it out. Yeah. 38. I don't know where we're going to find it, but... She hangs up, shoulders trembling. Int. Hallway. Continuous. Jada walks toward the vault door. Harold leans closer to the screen, breath held. Instead of taking anything, she locks it. Manually. She pockets the code slip, closes the door, and sits back down. Then she begins to cry. Silent, trembling tears. Int. Study. Harold stares at the monitor, his throat tight. This wasn't in his calculations. For years he believed everyone had a price. Maybe he was wrong. She checks her phone. No messages. Her breathing is slow, steady, like someone bracing themselves. She picks up her notebook and writes something, quick, short, then folds it shut as if sealing her thoughts away. The vault remains locked. She hasn't moved for hours. Int. Study. Harold. Harold stands suddenly, his knees cracking. He slips on a charcoal coat and takes a moment at the mirror. His reflection looks alien. An old man with hollow eyes, pale skin, and a mouth drawn into a grim line. His hand lingers on the doorknob. Int. Foyer. Continuous. He descends the staircase slowly, making noise on purpose. Keys jangling, the sound of his throat clearing. He wants her to know he's home. Int. Hallway. Continuous. Jada rises from the chair like a soldier standing to attention. Her face is calm but faintly red from crying. Harold, quietly. You've been here all day. Jada. The door. It was open. I didn't want to leave it unattended. Harold, measured, I saw. She blinks. Jada. You. Saw? Harold. There are cameras in every room. A flash of embarrassment crosses her face, but she doesn't flinch. Jada. It's your house. Your rules. Hallway. A beat of silence. The quiet stretches between them, heavy as the air before a storm. Harold. You were crying earlier. Jada freezes. She glances down at her hands. Jada. It's not important. Harold, it is to me. You spent hours guarding something that isn't yours. I think I'm owed the truth. Her jaw tightens. Jada. It's my mother. The store. We're drowning and I can't fix it. Close on Jada. Raw and honest. She doesn't look at him as she speaks, her words tumbling out in a quiet, measured tone. Jada. $38,000. That's what the bank wants. We're a family grocery store, Mr. Winters. My mom's been there since she was 17. We've got a rival chain now, flashy, cheap. We're bleeding customers. Pauses, voice tight. I work 2 jobs. I send her every dime I can. I live with roommates, skip meals. And it's still not enough. Hallway. Harold. Harold studies her with the intensity of a man trying to read a soul. There is no begging in her voice, no calculated tone, just exhaustion and dignity. He pulls an envelope from his coat. Harold here. Jada. What's this, Harold? 50,000. She stares at it like it's a weapon. Jada. I can't take that. Harold, you can. You earned it. Jada shakes her head. No, I didn't do anything. I didn't even clean the kitchen today. Harold, you passed the test into hallway. Jada's confusion. Jada test? Harold. I left that vault open on purpose. I wanted to see who you really are when no one's looking. Most people fail. They think I won't notice a missing stack. But you. He stops. For a moment, it looks like emotion might crack his voice. Jada whispers. That doesn't mean I deserve this. Harold, it means you deserve more than you think. Close on Jada, conflicted. She looks down at the envelope. She doesn't touch it. Jada. I didn't even think about it. That room, it's not mine. Taking even $1 would have been wrong. Hallway. Harold. For the first time, Harold's mask slips. There's something raw in his eyes, something like shame. Harold. You think that's common? That kind of decency? It's rarer than gold. Jada's hands tremble slightly. Jada. I don't want charity. Harold. This isn't charity. It's thanks. Hallway. Beat. Jada exhales, then slowly. Jada. You already helped my family once. Harold. What? She reaches into her canvas tote and pulls out a folded newspaper clipping. Jada, 3 years ago. An anonymous donor paid for surgeries at Grady Memorial. One of them was for my cousin Paco. He was 8. Heart defect. You saved his life. Harold's breath catches. Hallway. Close on Harold. Harold. You knew? Jada. I found out later. I asked the agency for a job near here just so I could… I don't know. See you. Say thank you. Hallway. Silence. Harold looks away, the weight of it hitting him like a blow. No one has ever thanked him like this. Not like this. Jada. I can't take this money. It's not mine. Harold. You think I'd offer it if I didn't mean it? Jada. Then let me use some of it for the store. Just enough to keep the doors open. Hallway. Harold nods. Harold. We'll figure something out. For the first time, Jada smiles. Faint, weary, but real. 2. Library. Night after she leaves, Harold stands by the closed vault door, staring at it as if seeing it for the first time. Somewhere inside, a sliver of light slips through the cracks of his guarded Hardy.
The horizon burns orange, painting the tips of the cypress trees in gold. The iron gates of the Winters estate stand open, and the long driveway glistens with dew. A delivery truck rolls by, ignored. Harold's bedroom, same time. Harold Winters sits at the edge of his bed, still in yesterday's clothes. His sheets are barely touched. He hasn't really slept. The house creaks around him, the sound of a structure breathing. He stares at the faint light cutting through the curtains and whispers, not to himself, but to the ghost of Miriam who isn't there. Harold. Maybe I was wrong about them all. Maybe I've been wrong for years. Int. Kitchen. Minutes later. Harold's coffee machine sputters. He stands there, hands braced on the counter. The smell of coffee fills the sterile air, but today he lingers with the cup in his hands, as if feeling the warmth is enough. The monitor bank is dark. He hasn't turned it on yet. SFX, doorbell. He stiffens. Int. Foyer. Continuous. Jada Harris enters, 15 minutes early as always. She carries her battered canvas tote and a new notebook tucked under her arm. Her smile is faint but genuine. Jada. Morning, Mr. Winters. Harold, morning. For a long beat, he just studies her. Then, Harold. Come with me. Int. Study. Day. The study is dim, lined with books and old maps, a place of command and memory. Harold gestures for her to sit across from his desk. Jada hesitates. She has never been invited in here before. Harold, sit. She sits, her posture formal. Harold opens a drawer and retrieves a slim black folder, thick with papers, some typed, some handwritten, some yellowed with time. Harold. This is my foundation, the Harold Winters Charitable Trust. I started it 2 decades ago, funded schools, hospitals, rehab programs for veterans. Jada. I didn't know. Harold. I didn't want anyone to know. I don't trust names on walls. I trust results. He pushes the folder across the desk. Harold, conted, but it's time I think about what happens when I'm gone. Close on Jada. Confused Jada. You mean your family? Harold's expression tightens, as if she's just touched an old scar. Harold. My son tried to have me declared incompetent just to steal his inheritance. My daughter, she drained 6 figures from my accounts before vanishing. Family doesn't mean loyalty. Int. Study. Jada's POV. She studies the documents in front of her. Her name appears in the typed lines. Jada. Wait, why is my name on this? Harold. Because you passed my test. Because you're the only one I trust to do this right. Jada blinks, stunned. Jada. You want me to run this? Harold. Yes. Int. Study. A long silence. The clock ticks. A distant wind rattles the windows. Jada, Mr. Winters. I'm a student. I clean houses. I've never run anything bigger than a food drive. Harold. Exactly. You know what it means when every dollar matters? That's what this needs. Int. Study. Jada, close. Her hands rest on the folder, trembling slightly. Jada. I don't know if I can do this. Harold. You can. And I'll teach you. XT Winters Estate. Afternoon. The sky is overcast now. Jada walks outside with the folder clutched to her chest. She looks at the hills, the distant highway, as if trying to see the path her life is about to take. Int. Study. Harold. Alone. Harold stares at the monitors again, but this time he doesn't watch Jada. He looks at his own reflection in the dark glass, as if confronting himself. Harold. VO. Maybe this is what Miriam meant. Money isn't meant to sit in the dark. It's meant to be used. Montage. Days pass. Jada reads the Foundation's ledgers late into the night, pages spread across the dining room table. Harold teaches her in the study, tapping at old reports, explaining grant processes. They sit in silence at the library, drinking tea, a rare, quiet trust building between them. Int. Foundation office. Day. A new scene. The Winters Charitable Trust has a modest downtown office, 3 rooms, bare walls, and a small plaque that simply reads Winters Foundation. Jada sits at a desk reviewing grant applications, while Harold, in his crisp gray suit, watches her work. Harold, softly. So, who are we helping today? XT. Savannah downtown, early morning. The streets are still damp from the night's rain. A pale sunrise washes the brick buildings in muted gold. We see a small sign above a modest 3-room office, Winter's Foundation. The letters are simple, unadorned, a deliberate choice. NT Foundation Office. Day. Jada Harris sits at a desk stacked with files and grant proposals. Her worn notebook is open, her pen moving fast, jotting down notes in clean, tight handwriting. She doesn't just read, she dissects, circling figures, highlighting inconsistencies, and scribbling questions. The space smells faintly of coffee and printer ink. A whiteboard on the wall is covered in hand-drawn charts and sticky notes. Community Relief Fund, Scholarship Cycle, March, Loans, under review. Harold Winters watches her from across the room, leaning on his cane. He doesn't speak, not at first. He just watches. Finally, he steps forward. Harold. Who are we helping today? Jada glances up, smiling faintly. Jada. There's a school in Macon. Cafeteria roof leaks. They've been using buckets for months. I've drafted a repair grant. Just waiting on the cost estimates. Harold, good. Approve it. Jada, surprised. You didn't even read it. Harold. I don't need to. I trust your judgment. Her eyes flicker with something. Gratitude, maybe disbelief. Montage. The foundation grows. Jada interviews local applicants, single mothers, struggling shop owners, veterans, listening with focused intensity, jotting every detail. Harold and Jada sit side by side, reviewing charts late into the evening, his hand occasionally trembling as he flips pages. The first scholarship checks are signed. Jada's signature next to Harold's. A family-owned store in Augusta reopens with new shelves and fresh paint, the owners hugging Jada in tears. Harold watching her through the office glass, almost smiling. INT, Foundation Office. Night. The office is empty except for Jada. She's hunched over her laptop, her phone pressed to her ear. Jada, on phone. Yes, Mama. I saw the numbers. The store's safe for now. A pause. No, don't thank me. It's not just me. As she speaks, Harold steps in quietly, unnoticed. He listens, his eyes softening at the sound of her voice. INT. Harold's study. Night. Harold sits alone later that night. The house silent except for the hum of the security system. Why show me this? On his desk, an unopened envelope. It's from his son, David Winters, postmarked from New York. Harold doesn't open it. Instead, he picks up a photograph. Miriam, standing on the front porch, smiling, holding a tray of freshly baked bread. Harold, V.O. You were right, Miriam. Money's useless if it doesn't carry hope with it. EXT, Winter's Estate, next day. The day is clear, sharp. Jada arrives earlier than usual. Harold is already waiting on the porch, leaning on his cane. Harold, I want to show you something. INT, Library. Day. The library feels different with Jada in it. She moves reverently among the shelves, fingers brushing the spines of books. Harold opens a glass cabinet and removes a thick leather-bound folder. Harold. These are my personal ledgers, records of every donation I've ever made. Names, dates, amounts, everything I did when no one was watching. Jada flips through the pages, handwritten notes, hospital receipts, letters from families who never knew his name. Jada Harold. Because I need someone who knows the whole story before I go. INT. Library. Close on Jada. She looks up, startled. Jada. You're not sick, are you? Harold. Not sick, just running out of time. INT. Foundation Office. Days later. The mood shifts. Jada is in a meeting with 2 new interns, fresh-faced, eager, and nervous. Harold sits at the end of the table, watching but saying little. Intern number 1. Sir, about the community kitchen project, Harold asks her. The interns turn to Jada. She straightens, realizing that this isn't just guidance. Harold is pushing her to lead, to own it. INT. Harold's bedroom. Night. Harold lies awake. The house is quiet, but there's something restless in him. He sits up, pulls open a drawer, and removes a letter. Not from his son, but from a lawyer. The words, "Draft of Will, Updated Airship Documents." At the bottom of the page, Jada Harris's name is typed. Harold's hand shakes as he traces it. Flashback, Harold's daughter. A younger Harold, in his 50s, yelling in a lawyer's office. His daughter, Emily, 20s, tear-streaked, holding a check she believes isn't enough. Emily. "You think money buys love, Dad? Keep your charity." She storms out. Int. Bedroom. Present. Harold clenches the paper. A single tear threatens but doesn't fall. EXT Foundation Office. Day. A black sedan pulls up. A man in his late 40s, sharp suit, cold eyes, David Winters, Harold's estranged son, NT Foundation Office. Continuous. David enters like he owns the place. He glances around, unimpressed. Jada looks up from her desk, startled. David. So this is where all of Dad's money's bleeding into. The front door slams. David Winters, late 40s, tall, expensively dressed, carrying the entitled swagger of a man used to winning, steps into the office like a storm. His eyes sweep the space, landing on Jada, who sits at her desk with a stack of grant applications. David. Where's my father? Jada rises slowly, clutching her pen like a shield. Jada. Who are you? David. His son. He smirks. The one who actually belongs here. NT. Foundation Office. Harold's view. The glass door to Harold's private office swings open. Harold steps out, leaning on his cane, his face pale but his voice cutting like steel. Harold David. David, turning, almost sneering. Hello, Dad. Finally decided to crawl out of that mausoleum you call a house? NT. Foundation Office. Tense moment. Harold and David lock eyes. The interns nearby freeze, sensing something toxic in the air. Harold. You're not welcome here. David. Not welcome? I'm your blood. This charity game you're playing. It's my inheritance you're giving away to strangers. His gaze shifts to Jada, lingering in a way that feels like a threat. David, Conti D. Including her? Who is this? Another one of your pet projects? Jada, close up. She doesn't flinch, but her jaw tightens. Jada, I'm the director of this foundation. David, mocking. Director? Dad, you've lost your mind. She's a maid. Int. Office. Harold's outburst. Harold slams his cane on the floor. The sound echoes like a gunshot. Harold, enough. David stops, startled by the force of it. Harold, Contied, you don't get to walk in here and insult the only person who's done something good with this money. David. Good? You think I don't know what's going on? The lawyers told me, Dad. You're changing the will, leaving everything to her. Jada's eyes widen slightly. She didn't know about the will. She looks at Harold, shocked. Jada, Mr. Winters? Int. Office. Harold and Jada. Harold's eyes soften when he looks at Jada, but his voice remains firm. Harold. It's true, and it's my decision. David. You're insane. She's using you. Harold. No. I tested her, David, the way I should have tested you years ago. Close on David. David's face twists, a mix of rage and wounded pride. David. You don't know what you're doing. You're old, confused. Maybe I should take this to court. Again. Int. Foundation Office. Silence. The tension is suffocating. Jada steps forward, her voice calm but unwavering. Jada, Mr. Winters, do you want me to ask him to leave? David laughs. Oh, that's rich. The help throwing me out of my father's business. Harold, quiet but lethal. This isn't yours, David. It never was. EXT Foundation Office. Moments later, David storms out, his expensive shoes pounding on the pavement. Jada stands in the doorway, watching him go, her face pale but composed. Harold remains behind her, leaning heavily on his cane. Int. Office. Aftermath. Jada turns to Harold. Jada. Why didn't you tell me about the will? Harold. because I didn't want you to feel trapped. Jada, softly. I don't want your money, Mr. Winters. Harold, I know. That's why you deserve it. Inti, Winters' house. Night. The mansion is dark. Harold sits alone in the library, the letter from his lawyer open on the desk. His hands tremble as he picks up the pen and signs the final page. Harold V.O. Quiet, almost broken. Blood doesn't make family. Trust does. Montage. Harold's memories. Emily, his daughter, slamming a door after an argument. David in his 20s, demanding a loan, angry when refused. Miriam placing her hand on Harold's cheek, whispering, Don't let the money turn you to stone. Int, Winter's house. Study. Late night. Jada knocks softly. Jada. Mr. Winters? He looks up, surprised. Harold, you're still here? Jada. I didn't want you to be alone tonight. For a long moment, Harold doesn't respond. Then he nods, just once, as if conceding something deep inside himself.
XT Winters Foundation. Early morning. The air is thick with humidity. The building's brick exterior glistens faintly in the rising sun. Inside, the tension feels heavier than the weather. Something unspoken is brewing. Int. Foundation office. Morning. Jada sits at her desk reviewing spreadsheets, but her mind is elsewhere. The memory of David Winters storming in lingers like smoke. Every time the office door creaks, her shoulders tense. Her phone buzzes. A text. Call me now. It's important. It's from her mother. Jada steps outside, pressing the phone to her ear. Jada, on phone. Mama, what's wrong? Her mother's voice is frantic. Mother, V.O. Some man came to the store asking questions about you, about money. Said he's with your boss's family. Jada, he was rude. He said things. Jada's blood runs cold. Inti Foundation office, same time. Harold enters, leaning on his cane. He notices Jada's pale expression immediately. Harold. What happened, she tells him, his jaw tightens. Harold, coldly. David XT, David's apartment. Later a luxury condo. Harold's car pulls up and he steps out, slow, deliberate, the cane striking the pavement like a warning. Int. David's apartment. Confrontation. David is on the phone, laughing, drink in hand, when Harold walks in unannounced. The laugh dies instantly. David. You can't just barge in here. Harold. What did you say to her mother? David smirks, but his eyes flicker with unease. David. Just asked a few questions. Turns out your little saint has debt, family problems, a messy past. Sound familiar? Harold steps closer. Harold. You go near her or her family again, and you'll regret it. David. Laughs but bitterly. What's this, Dad? She's replacing us now? Is that it? Harold. She's done more with this foundation in 6 months than you've done with your life. David's jaw clenches. Int. Foundation office. Evening. Jada finds an unmarked envelope slipped under the door. Inside are printed pages. Her own financial records, overdue bills, even private notes from her college file. A single line is written across the top in bold marker. Is this who you trust? Her hands shake. Int. Winter's house. Night. Harold sits in the library, reading reports by lamplight. Jada bursts in, holding the envelope. Jada. He's digging into my life. He's trying to scare me. Harold takes the papers, reads them, his expression darkening. Harold. I should have known David wouldn't stop. Jada, angrily. He wants me to leave. Harold. Then you stay. Jada looks at him confused. Harold. Contied. You don't run from people like him. You outlast them. Montage. Pressure builds David meeting with a lawyer, waving documents. Jada working late nights, her eyes red from exhaustion but her focus unbroken. Harold staring at his will, then at the photo of Miriam whispering, You'd tell me not to give up. An online article appears. Who is Jada Harris, the young woman behind Winter's fortune? The comments are cruel. Inti, Foundation office, day. Jada reads the article, her hands trembling. Intern number 2. We can issue a statement, Ms. Harris. Deny the rumors. Jada, no. We don't play his game. We let the work speak. But when she turns away, her face shows the toll. Int. Winter's house. Late night. Harold wakes suddenly, clutching his chest. A sharp pain radiates down his left arm. He gasps, reaching for the nightstand phone, but it falls to the floor. Cut to black. Int. Hospital. Night. Fluorescent lights hum. Machines beep steadily. Harold lies in a hospital bed, pale and weak. Jada sits by his side, gripping his hand. Jada, you scared me. He opens his eyes slowly. Harold, still here, not done yet. In T hospital room. Moments later, David appears at the door. His expression is unreadable. David, what happened? Jada stands, protective. Jada, a mild heart attack. David's gaze cuts to Harold. David, maybe all this stress, all this isn't worth it, huh? Close on Harold. Harold glares at him with a fire David hasn't seen in years. Harold, get out. David hesitates, and for once, obeys. Int. Hospital room. Harold and Jada. Harold, weakly. Don't let him win. Promise me. Jada, I promise. Int. Hospital room. Early morning. Sunlight filters through blinds, striping the room with pale light. Harold lies propped up against pillows, his face thinner but his eyes sharper than they've been in years. Jada sits beside him, laptop open, papers spread across the bedside table like an improvised war room. Harold, you don't have to sit here all day. Jada, I'm not leaving you alone with lawyers circling like vultures. INT Foundation office. Same time, the interns shuffle nervously as David Winters storms in, flanked by a sleek corporate lawyer in a navy suit. David, pack up. All of you. This office is done. Intern number 1. Sir, Ms. Harris, David, cutting him off, has no legal authority here. Not anymore. The lawyer slaps a court notice onto the front desk. Lawyer, a petition for conservatorship, filed this morning. INT Hospital. Harold and Jada. Jada reads the scanned notice on her laptop, her knuckles white. Jada, he's trying to strip you of control. Harold, calmly. Then he's going to lose, my first son. Jada's brow furrows. Jada, I thought David was your only. Harold, no. Before David, before Emily. There was Peter. Flashback, 1960s. EXT courthouse, day montage. A courthouse hallway bustling with lawyers. David shaking hands with his attorney, smirking. Jada walking in beside Harold, steadying him as he leans on his cane. INT courtroom. Day, the judge, a stern woman in her 60s, peers over her glasses. Judge Mr. Winters, your son claims you are unfit to manage your estate due to recent health concerns. Harold's voice is quiet but unwavering. Harold, my son's concern is not my health. It's my money. David shifts uncomfortably. INT courtroom. Close on Jada. She watches, heart pounding. Harold is holding his ground, but she knows the battle is only beginning. INT. Winter's house. That night back home, Harold sits by the fireplace staring into the flames. Jada enters with 2 cups of tea. Jada, you should rest. Harold, I can't. There's something I need to tell you. INT. Library. Night. Reveal. Harold opens a drawer and pulls out a faded photograph. A young boy, around 8, standing beside a boat, grinning. Harold, my first son. Jada's brow furrows. Jada, I thought David was your only. Harold, no. Before David, before Emily. There was Peter. Flashback, 1960s. A young Harold in his Navy uniform holding a boy's hand. Miriam stands beside them, smiling. Harold, VO. We lost him. Boating accident. I blamed myself. Miriam, she never forgave me. That was the first crack. INT library. Present. Harold, David, and Emily grew up in the shadow of that loss. Maybe I smothered them. Maybe I tried to buy their love. It never worked. Jada listens, silent. Harold, conted. This foundation, it's not just money. It's a chance to fix what I broke. EXT Foundation Office. Day, next week. A small crowd gathers. News reporters, local families helped by the foundation, even volunteers. Jada stands at the entrance, flanked by the interns, reading a prepared statement. Jada, we are not going anywhere. This foundation belongs to the communities we serve, not to greed. Harold and Jada sit in the quiet library, the only sound the crackle of the fireplace. Harold, if I die tomorrow, I want you to promise me something. Jada, anything. Harold, don't let him turn this into another Winter's empire built on fear. This is Miriam's dream. Jada takes his hand. Jada, I promise. Flashes from cameras. David watches from a distance, scowling. Int law firm Knight. David and his lawyer sit in a glass-walled conference room. Lawyer, she's winning public favor. We need to hit her where it hurts. David, then dig deeper. Find something. Anything. Int. Winter's house. Late night. Jada enters the library to find Harold sitting with a stack of letters. His breathing is heavier. Jada, what are those? Harold goodbyes, just in case. She takes the letters, shaking her head. Jada, no. We're not done fighting. Montage. The tide turns Jada meeting with local journalists, showing them the real impact of the foundation's work. Families, students, veterans all speaking in interviews about the help they received. Harold, frail but determined, recording a video message. If you want to know who I trust, look at her. David's apartment. Night. David watches the broadcast. His jaw clenches. For the first time, he looks like a man who might be losing. Int. Winter's house. Night. Harold and Jada sit in the quiet library, the only sound the crackle of the fireplace. Harold, if I die tomorrow, I want you to promise me something. Jada, anything. Harold, don't let him turn this into another Winter's empire built on fear. This is Miriam's dream. Jada takes his hand. Jada, I promise. Into foundation office. Night rain lashes the windows. Inside, the office is dark except for the glow of Jada's computer screen. She sits alone, scrolling through Harold's handwritten financial logs. Entries going back 30 years. Something's bothering her. A name keeps repeating. E. Winters. Not Emily, not David, not Miriam. Just the letter. The sums beside it are huge. 6-figure wire transfers. And they're recent. Jada stares at the page. Her finger hovers over her keyboard. Jada. Who the hell is E. Winters? Int. Winter's house. Library. Later that night, Jada confronts Harold. He's in his reading chair, his oxygen tank beside him now. His health is failing, but his gaze is sharp. Jada. I found your ledgers. Who is E. Winters? Harold closes his eyes. It's as if she's just opened a door he's spent years sealing shut. Harold, Emily. Jada blinks. Jada. Your daughter? I thought she... Harold gone. Yes. But not completely. Flashback. 10 years earlier. Emily, mid-30s, fierce and beautiful, stands in Harold's office demanding money for a business she says is a vision. He refuses. She slaps a photo on the desk. Her son, Harold's grandson. Emily. You don't care if we starve. Harold, I care. But not enough to bankroll another failure. She storms out, int, library, present. Harold breathes heavily. Harold, a year later. I gave in. Quietly. Through shell accounts. Over $2 million. I thought I could fix it in silence. Jada. Did she ever thank you? Harold's silence is answer enough. Int, foundation office. Day. Jada sits across from a private investigator, early 60s, sharp-eyed. She slides a folder across the desk. Jada. I need to find Emily Winters, discreetly. And her son. Int law office. Same time. David paces, holding a sealed envelope. Inside, photocopies of Jada's college disciplinary file. Not criminal, just a note about a roommate who'd been caught dealing Adderall out of their apartment. David slaps it on the desk. David. We bury her with this. Lawyer. This? It's nothing. David doesn't have to be true. It just has to stain. Inti. Winter's house. Night. Harold watches old home movies on a reel-to-reel projector. On the wall, a flickering image of Miriam dancing barefoot in the garden. Jada walks in. He doesn't look away from the image. Harold, I've made peace with death, but not with my daughter. Int. Jada's apartment. Late night. Jada can't sleep. The PI's report sits on her kitchen table. She opens it. Emily Winters, Atlanta, alias Emily Barker. Son, Kai Barker Winters, age 12. There's a photo. A boy, dark hair, wide eyes, clutching a book, a math textbook. Jada stares at it. Inti, foundation office. Next day, a knock. Jada opens the door. Emily Winters stands on the threshold. Her face is thinner now, harder but unmistakable. Emily. So, you found me. Inta's conference room. Minutes later, they sit across from each other, neither blinking. Jada, you're Harold's daughter. Emily, haven't used that name in a decade. Jada, he's dying. Emily, so I heard. I'm not here for closure. Jada, then why? Emily slides a flash drive across the table. Emily, David's trying to destroy you. He offered me money to leak your personal files. Jada freezes. Jada, you took it? Emily, no. Because he did the same to me once. That's how he got the trust. Int, Winter's house, that night. Emily stands in the doorway of the library. Harold sees her and stops breathing for a moment. Harold, Emily. She crosses the room. No hug, no tears. But she kneels next to him. Emily, I hated you. For years. But you kept us alive. You helped Kai. You just didn't know how to say it out loud. Harold, I'm sorry for everything. Emily, I know. They sit in silence. In T Foundation office, following week, David bursts in, brandishing a legal motion and a photo of Jada from college, standing next to her former roommate. David, she lived with a dealer. You really want this woman managing your fortune? But Jada is ready. She steps forward and slides the flash drive across the table. Jada, go ahead, David. Play your card. David frowns, suspicious. Jada, conted. Because I'll play mine. Starting with the offshore account you used to funnel donations into your own startup in 2018. David turns pale. Jada, quietly. I know everything. In it Winter's house night. Harold sits by the fire. Emily sits beside him. Jada joins them. There are no more lies left between them now. Harold, there's something poetic about it, that the daughter I lost came back, and the daughter I found stayed. He reaches for both their hands. Harold, conted, the foundation will be yours. Both of you. XT Savannah City Hall. Day. A crowd has gathered on the courthouse steps. Television cameras flash. Reporters shout questions. At the center stands Jada Harris, flanked by Emily Winters and a small team from the Winters Foundation. In the distance, David Winters watches from a black SUV, his jaw clenched. Reporter number 1, Ms. Harris. What do you say to allegations that the Winters Foundation misused funds? Jada, calm, resolute. Every dollar spent has gone where it was meant to go, into communities that need it most. We have nothing to hide. Reporter number 2. What about the claims that you falsified your own background? Jada doesn't flinch. Jada, you're welcome to see the records. I've lived with less than nothing and fought for every step I've taken. That's why I'm here, to make sure no one else fights alone. In T. David's office. Same time. David watches the press conference on a giant screen. He slams his fist into the desk. His lawyer, looking nervous, mutters, "Lawyer. She's winning public opinion. We need proof of mismanagement or this is over." David. Then find me proof, or I'll make some. Int. Winter's house. Library. Night. Harold, too weak to leave the house, watches Jada's speech on a tablet. A faint smile touches his lips. Harold, V.O. Miriam. I wish you could see her. She's what we always wanted this to be. He coughs violently, gripping the arm of his chair. Emily rushes to his side. Emily. Dad, you have to rest. Harold. Not yet. I need to finish this. Foundation office. Late night, Jada and Emily sit surrounded by documents. Their laptops glow in the dim room. They're preparing for the audit David demanded. Emily. He's going to pick apart every cent we spent. Jada. Then we show him what every cent did. She pulls out a thick binder, filled with photos, receipts, and testimonials from families helped by the foundation. Montage. The foundation's impact. A veteran in a wheelchair receiving a renovated ramp at his home. A single mother signing a new lease after avoiding eviction. Students opening laptops provided by a scholarship program. Jada standing quietly in the background, never taking credit. Courtroom. Day. The next hearing. David's lawyer presents spreadsheets claiming financial irregularities, but Jada steps forward with the binder. Jada. Every figure you question is a life we saved. Here's proof. Here's their names. Here's their stories. The judge flips through the binder, visibly moved. Courtroom, close on David. His confidence cracks. David, snapping. This is sentimental manipulation. It doesn't change the numbers. Jada, steel in her voice. It changes everything. Because this foundation isn't about numbers. It's about trust. Something you've never understood. Winter's house. Evening. Emily arrives home first, exhilarated. Emily, we won. The judge dismissed his petition. Harold, sitting in his chair, closes his eyes and exhales a breath he didn't realize he was holding. In foundation office, celebration night. The interns bring pizza. Jada sits on the office floor, exhausted but smiling. Emily pops open a cheap bottle of champagne. Emily. You know, I spent years thinking Dad's money ruined everything. Maybe I was wrong. Jada, money doesn't ruin things, people do, and they can fix them too. Winter's estate. Night. The house glows warm against the dark sky, but inside, Harold's health falters. Harold's bedroom. Night. Harold sits on the edge of his bed. Jada enters with a tray of tea. Harold. You're not afraid of him anymore, are you? Jada. David? No, I'm not afraid of any of them. Harold. Good. Because soon, this will be yours. All of it. Jada. I don't want all of it, Mr. Winters. I just want to make it mean something. Harold looks at her for a long, quiet moment. Harold. Then you'll do just fine. Montage. The final months. Jada and Emily reorganizing the foundation's programs, adding Kai's scholarship fund in Emily's son's name. Harold signing final documents, his hand trembling but determined. A quiet family dinner, Harold, Jada, Emily, and Kai, laughter breaking the decades of silence. David watching from afar, bitter and alone. Winter's house, library, night. Harold stares out the window at the moonlit grounds. Jada stands behind him. Harold. You remind me of her, you know. Miriam. She believed in people, even when I didn't. Jada. Then I hope I make her proud. Harold nods. Harold. You already have. Winter's estate. Dawn. The iron gates are open. The air is still, heavy with the scent of wet grass. Sunlight filters through the moss-draped oaks, turning them into golden arches. A single black car is parked outside the mansion. Inside the house, silence waits like a living thing. Harold's bedroom. Early morning. Harold Winters lies in bed, his breathing shallow but steady. His face, once lined with suspicion and hard resolve, now looks softer, as if years of bitterness have melted into something almost peaceful. Jada sits by his side, her hand gently covering his. Emily stands at the foot of the bed, holding a cup of water she hasn't touched. Kai, quiet and nervous, leans against the doorway, watching the man who is his grandfather but feels like a stranger. Harold, whispering, You're all here. Good. Jada leans closer. Jada, we're not going anywhere. Harold's eyes move between Emily and Jada. Harold. Emily launching Kai's scholarship fund, hugging her son as cameras flash. A plaque unveiled at the foundation's entrance. The Winters Foundation, Hope, Dignity, Repair. Beneath it, a smaller engraving. In memory of Harold and Miriam Winters. This house, all the money, the foundation, none of it means anything if it dies with me. Emily swallows hard. Emily. It won't. I promise. Harold's gaze shifts to Jada. Harold and you. I thought I was testing you, but you were the one who tested me. You made me believe again. Jada blinks back tears. Jada. You saved me first, Mr. Winters. You just didn't know it. Int. Library. Later that day, stacks of legal documents sit on the desk. The final transfer of control. Harold's trembling hand, guided by Jada, signs the last page. Harold, to Jada and Emily. This is your ship now. Sail it well. Emily touches his hand, and for the first time since childhood, she lets herself cry in front of him. Montage. The legacy begins the foundation's new headquarters. Modest but alive with volunteers, interns, and community leaders. Jada giving a talk at a local university, sharing how trust and integrity built something bigger than herself. Emily launching Kai's scholarship fund, hugging her son as cameras flash. A plaque unveiled at the foundation's entrance. The Winters Foundation, Hope, Dignity, Repair. Beneath it, a smaller engraving. In memory of Harold and Miriam Winters. Int. Winters' house. Evening. Weeks later. The house is quiet, but not lonely. Jada and Emily walk through the library, now brighter, the curtains open. A photo of Harold and Miriam sits on the mantel, fresh flowers beside it. Emily. I used to hate this house. It felt like a prison. Jada. Now it feels like a home. They smile faintly. Ext. Winters Estate. Sunset. The gates remain open. Jada walks to the porch carrying a mug of tea, watching the sky burn orange and purple. Emily joins her, standing shoulder to shoulder. Emily. He'd be proud of what you're doing. Jada. No. We're doing it. Together. INT Foundation Office, night. Thank you. The office is buzzing with energy. New hires, community leaders, and volunteers. Jada stands at the head of a long table, Emily beside her. Jada. This isn't about money. It's about trust, about building something that lasts beyond us. The room falls silent, listening. Jada takes a deep breath. Jada, conted. We're not here to make the Winters name big. We're here to make lives better. Int. Winters' house, Harold's study. Later that night, Jada sits alone in Harold's old chair looking at his logbook. She flips to the last entry, written in shaky but deliberate handwriting. Jada Harris, the one who stayed when no one else did. She closes the book and places it on the shelf. XT. Winters Estate, starlight. The night is quiet. The house stands not as a fortress but as a beacon, its windows glowing warmly. Jada steps out onto the porch, looking up at the stars. A breeze rustles through the trees, and for a moment, it feels like Harold is there, watching, approving. Jada, softly, thank you for watching.